I'm Bambi Francisco with Vader News, and I'm speaking with Brad Inman. He's the CEO and founder of Vook. Brad, thank you for joining me.
Greetings.
We're going to talk about, in this segment, how the digital book is changing the publishing industry and the way we consume knowledge and entertainment. So I want to ask you how, the first question is what's happening in the publishing industry, and why are publishers and authors drawn to the concept of combining video and Twitter dialogue with a written word?
Sure. Well, one thing that's happening generally in the industry is book sales are down, and so the industry itself is struggling with that. Some of that's economic conditions, but also we're in a transformative period in the book industry. It is really changing, and part of it is what's going on with digital media, how people are consuming media. So the industry, I would call it very challenged right now. The traditional book industry is challenged, and they're racing to come up with new products and new ideas to enter this new digital world. I mean, clearly the Kindle has taken off, it looks like. We don't have any numbers yet to prove it, but it looks like it. There's more and more ebooks. Ebooks are selling on the internet. It's amazing how...
It's still a $200 million industry.
It's small, relatively speaking, but as you know, things start, but the early adopters are doing it. People are consuming media. A lot of people are reading books on the iPhone.
Right.
So there's the genesis is something that's transformative to the industry. The industry, unfortunately, is often stuck with an old model, which requires warehousing and printing presses, and a lot of office space and legacy systems. So they're trying to adapt, but it's, as you know, very hard with these changing.
It takes a while to...
It does.
Google is launching a bookstore. How is that going to affect your business, or how does that create opportunities for your business? How does that change the industry a little?
Well, we think all of these things, you know, the innovation by Amazon and the Kindle, what Apple's doing with the iPhone, what they may be doing with the netbook or other things, all of the things being done by Google, you know, making it easier, better experiences is good for us. We're not in the platform, you know, the device business. So that just enables us, I think, to provide more outlets and better ways to consume the media we're creating. So,
well, let's talk about the publishers and the authors. It seems that this transition to the ebook, when you're selling a book for $10 and not selling it for $25 for a hard copy, the margins are squeezed, publishers are getting less, and authors are getting less. So when you evolve into a book, which is even more expensive, I'd imagine, to produce, you know, what are we talking about?
Well, it's premium content. You know, this whole debate about premium content. We truly believe that, and I think this is premium content. There's 25 movies, you know, full motion videos. There's integration with video. There's the elegant user experience. You know, HBO is premium content, and people are willing to pay for it. So when we really create premium content, we shouldn't apologize for charging for it, because people are willing to pay. And that's what this is about. This isn't about, you know, a zero-sum game with the traditional book. This is a brand new product that has value. We have to figure out what that value is to the consumer, and they ultimately tell us. But it has real value, and we believe that strongly.
Maybe you should charge like HBO. Maybe you charge a subscription to...
I think it's a great idea. There may be a different model here when you start thinking about this different form of media.
We were talking earlier about how I'm in the newspaper and media industry. That's changed a lot. I'm trying to create something with Vader News where we combine video with text, much like yourself, you're doing with Vook. But it seems that a lot of people still prefer sort of bits and pieces. That's why Wall Street Journal turned into USA Today. That's why people are consuming Twitter 140 characters. So I guess my question is, who's the market for such an elaborate production?
Well, first of all, the experience itself is pretty simple and elegant, and you can do what you want with it. But what you just described is important. This could actually help save long form, because if you think about books, they are the ultimate long form of journalism or reporting or writing. But yet we have to, and I come from the same background you do, the newspaper business. It's also true that people consume media the way they want. It used to be we stood there and told them how to do that in the newspaper industry and the book publishing industry. Now, with this, it's digital media. They can move it around. They can go to the last chapter. They can go to the middle chapter. They can watch the video and do the text. And that's how people want to consume media. It's kind of like, are you going to tell someone they can't go to the back of the book and read the ending? People do that all the time. This is even more, I think, inventive in that way. So, but if we create a market where long form can actually be used in a new way, maybe long form will survive. So if you look at Vook, we chop it up by chapters and smaller bits, and then people can also elongate it and use the long form. But it gives the user the power to do that. And that's a different way of thinking about media, I think.
That is. But giving the power, it's great to give users the power, but I'm not quite sure giving children the power to do things is a good idea. You want them to read.
Yeah.
And it strikes me that they'll enjoy reading more if they have these elements.
That's what we think.
But I'm not quite sure. I mean, is this going to, do you think this will get the 10 and under crowd to read more?
Well, first of all, I don't think we should stop teaching children to read and encouraging them to read it, to experience that immersive experience you talked about of, really appreciating the long-form narrative. On the other hand, it's clearer that kids are on the computer and they're digesting media differently whether we like it or not, unless we're not giving them access to the internet. And of course we are. But to imagine good writing and good authors giving it in a form they're familiar with may actually inspire them to read.
I think you're right. Maybe we could say, look, let's get away from the video games.
Right.
And here's something more entertaining. Okay, I'm sold. Okay, this is certainly creating debate among literary circles, I'd imagine. What kind of criticism?
Well, I think the very questions you asked, which are a really good question, is this the end of great books? And we think just the opposite. Were movies in the 20s the end of great books? Absolutely not. Was audiobooks the end of great books? No, absolutely not. This is just about using technology to leverage the power of the written word in great authors. And if I thought I was doing anything else, I wouldn't be doing it.
Okay, well, we'll end it there. This is not the end of great books. In fact, it's the beginning of a new chapter, of maybe even...
There you go, new chapter. I like that.
Exactly. Okay, Brad, thanks very much.
Thank you, Ben.
I've been speaking with Brad Inman. He's the CEO and founder of Vook. I'm Bambi Francisco.